Hello, what's up YouTube? So today, as you can see probably by, you know, the title screen of the game, we're playing Rainbow Six Vegas. Yeah, not the newest Rainbow Six. There we go. And yeah, I know my camera quality is terrible. Okay, to put things in perspective, I'm recording gameplay on a PS3. I'm playing on a PS3, and I'm recording on a old Microsoft camera using a uh, Acer Chromebook 11. So it's like my laptop's out of date, and so is my camera. So let's see if we can just focus that in. There we go. Yeah, this camera, it also gets motion blur. Now, I should also start with, this game does not look much better than what you're seeing. It's not just the camera, it's also kind of the game. This game came out, and it should have been great, but it ran into some technical difficulties. This is kind of typical of Ubisoft in particular. They make these games that should be great. Oh, it's, Rainbow Six from fucking the Nintendo 64 days and the PS1. Oh, tactical shooter. And then it's well, you're gonna see some of the issues. So now this isn't my, whoops. I actually wanted to start from the first level, but you could see there it was extremely dark. That area is supposed to be dark, but not that dark. See, the problem, this is one of the many problems of this game. Okay, you see this? Typically on a game, you can adjust your brightness. If I click, the right analog stick to the right, nothing adjusts. If I move up, nothing adjusts. Down, nothing adjusts. If I use the other analog stick, it just moves the menu. If I use the D-pad, it just moves the menu. Okay? You cannot adjust the brightness on this game using your game. You have to adjust the actual TV brightness to the game, which is difficult, obnoxious, and annoying. Okay? That wasn't even typical for when this game came out, okay? Because this game came out around the same time that Modern Warfare 2 came out. Or even Modern Warfare 1 had the ability to adjust, game brightness and things like that. You had Saint Rose 2, you had PS2 games that let you adjust the brightness. I don't know why they did that. This game is fun, though. So, and I'm going to lose my last checkpoint. Now, one of the things that this game does do well is it has a little bit of replayability. Because this class you see right here, this is the class you start with when you first start the game. Oh, whoops. And I just accidentally clicked that. God damn it. But you can adjust your class and change your class with new weapons you found later, which I'm going to go back and I'm going to show that off right now. But this would be the typical class you start with. Now, the loading screens are a little clunky. That, however, is more typical for the time period. I should also mention, this is 2019. The PS3 is old, okay, to say the least. So load times are even slower than what they would have been when this game, came out and the PS3 was really fast and everything. Yeah, that's typical of, the devices being old, the newer updates. There's a lot of things that factor into that. So, and I haven't even played through the entirety of this game. I did play this game when it was on 360 before the PS3 came out. I think I played the second one actually, or maybe it was this one. And yeah, it is a fun game for what it is. So yeah, normal or realistic. You don't have easy. This game is difficult. Alright. It's not Dark Souls difficult, but this game is difficult. Okay, if you're gonna give it a first time playthrough, give it a playthrough on normal. Okay, because with it trying to be a tactical and more realistic shooter, you have these things where you're just gonna die instantly, and you'll see that. So I have a few options. Now when you first start the game, you only have this gun right here, the MP5N. I believe the N stands for NATO. It looks nothing like the MP5. The MP7A1. That one, it's very poorly rendered. Even with the poor camera, even if you had a good high definition camera, it would still look poorly rendered. It looks very UMP45. It kind of looks on par with Modern Warfare. I wouldn't be surprised if they stole it from Modern Warfare. The P90, again, it kind of looks par. Now when you actually get into the game and use it, it looks vastly different than the picture. Okay. This game is old, and the core aspect of this game is not necessarily the graphics, and trust me, the graphics are nothing to be impressed of. Mac 11, that one actually looks like a Mac 11, alright? MP9 actually looks kind of like an MP9. So I'm going to go ahead and select, and this is one of the guns that you have to find. Okay, you don't get this until you're in the Calypso Casino. And it's, it's pretty typical MP5. Holds a lot of bullets, fast fire rate, fairly accurate. Does have some flaws, but not too bad. Commando is again, a gun you start out with. You have to find the AK, but you find the AK, on the first level. Okay, you have to find the AUG. You start off the FAMAS. You have to find the G3, KA4. But you find that, again, the first level. M8, you start out with that. MTAR, you start out with that. SCAR, you start out with. Now, they all have their own stats. And unlike Call of Duty, the stats actually do what they say they do. Because Call of Duty has a habit of, having stat bars that don't actually matter. Or, stat bars that just don't quite portray what it actually does. This, you don't have that issue. Okay. Also, this game is not too labor intensive on the PS3, which is kind of nice. So there's not too, there's a skip and a pause, okay, here and there. Normally, this PS3 in particular, it's old, it's the original model and everything. I got it from a thrift store. Your console just straight up freeze. In this case, it pauses for a second. I go, oh, is it going to freeze? Oh, nope, it continues playing. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go with the AK, just because if I do, I'm going to have a million bullets for days. Put that little scope, because I'm going to need that. And then, pistol you start out with, another pistol you start out with, you have to find the Glock 18. You cannot suppress this particular pistol. You have to find this one. You can't suppress a Raging Bull. Okay, you can't suppress a Desert Eagle. That's kind of obvious. All right, and they did that for balancing reasons. Frag grenade, breach, charge, flashbang, incendiary. This game does give you some stuff to work with. Smoke, breach charge. I do like the incendiary grenade, but unless you hit somebody directly with it, it's kind of, pointless almost. Smokes are good. Flashbangs are good. Breach charges are actually excellent for what they are. You put them on a door, they blow up, and, anybody near the door is going to get hurt. You don't want to use that for, a hostage, obviously. So now getting into the actual gameplay, and letting you guys see some of this stuff. Now, to put things in perspective, this game, it's only going to cost you about $2. I only paid $2 for this. Okay, for $2, that's not bad. If you were to buy this game brand new, you'd be pretty pissed off. And people were pretty pissed off. And people were so pissed off, they started pirating this game and trying to give it away for free. So as I mentioned already, my camera has a little bit of a motion blur, and that's what you're seeing. That's not the game. Well, it's actually partially the game. The game has a little bit of motion blur itself, which is creating this pretty negative effect on the whole entire thing. Luckily, this is a pretty slow-paced game, so this shouldn't be too bad on your guys' view. I am playing this, on myself. The X button is to use fast rope, obviously. Crouch is the left analog stick, and aiming down the sights is the right analog stick. Controls are not Call of Duty, obviously. And, this is not abysmal, but it is hard to see. So you should actually throw on the suppressor here. The menu is really nice. It's really smooth. So you press triangle, you have access to all your shit. You want to suppress stuff, you just hold down square. There's suppressor, burst fire, semi-fire, that type of thing. Now, L1 isn't bad for taking cover. It's actually quite nice. So. And you can peek around corners fairly easily. Like, this game impresses me on that regard. So the controls are not at all bad. Like, I've played with a lot worse controls. And these controls, once you get used to them, they're pretty manageable. The first level, you're going to be like, what the hell is this? Because, most people are just used to Call of Duty. And Battlefield has, also some pretty awkward controls in my opinion. That's not to say Battlefield is a bad game. It's actually probably better than Call of Duty. I personally prefer Call of Duty for what it is. Now, one of the nice things is the crosshairs lights up red when you're over an enemy, which kind of makes up for the fact that they're pretty hard to see. So, yeah, and it doesn't take long for you to feel like you're, playing a tactical game. Now, one of the other nice things is the enemies don't just instantly hit you, and you don't just instantly hit the enemies. The enemies do have a little bit of health. Realistic would take that away from them, but then it also takes that away from you, so you would die in like 1 or 2 bullets. They would die in 1 and 2 bullets. The damage bar like kind of no longer matters at that point. And switching to covers, pretty easy. And you can pick up enemy weapons, of course. There's no point to do so unless you're running out of ammo, or it's a gun you don't already have. And or there's the other thing is just like that particular gun's better for the situation that's at hand. And some guns really are like that. You know, it's kind of a neat touch that it's like that, because in some cases it's like these, you know, these guys know this area, they know this neighborhood, they live here. They're gonna use the gun that's, you know, more available in the area, but they're also gonna use the gun that's better. AK-47 is going to be better for this particular area than, you know, a fucking what was the other gun I have? A P90. Like, I'm not gonna be able to hit anybody at this range. Okay, these guys are gonna sit there, put a scope on their gun, and snipe me for the days. You know, the G35. You know, that's a good gun for this area. They use that gun. It makes sense. Now, the reason why I have an SMG is because there's a little couple areas where you actually might want to use an SMG rather than use, you know, uh, a full auto, you know, assault rifle and everything, because these areas are small. Now, this is getting into one of the biggest complaints I have of this game is the snake cam. You have to use the motion controller on the PS3, which isn't bad, but it's not the best. Okay. Now, there is, like, in real life, there are multiple doors to rooms, and you have to check them, okay, for the best angle. Yeah, you can take cover and open doors. I don't know why my character's just like not doing it. You can take cover and open doors like this. And one of the other nice things that's kind of a nice touch of realism is you do have stuff like that where it's just better to aim for their foot and shoot them in the foot than to even try to hit them somewhere else, because you know you're just not gonna hit them. Now, I've already played through this level, so I've like I already know like what's when and where. This game, you know, it's one of the things that this game doesn't do well for replayability is like they don't switch it up. And of course, there's the obvious, you can rappel down buildings stuff. It's all the controls you would expect. Nothing special there, really. Now, I could have gone a different route and actually been stealthy about this. I just chose to have a gunfight instead, because I went the stealthy route the first time. Uh, but I would be cautious. Like, this game will make you cautious about going loud and stuff like that. Now, this game does do a good job of teaching you the controls. It also does do, you know, the service of not having a tutorial, which I much appreciate, because it's, you know, it's honestly one of the things I wish other companies would implement, because it's nice to just play the game, learn the game as you go, and, you know, do stuff. It is slightly annoying when it's like, it tells you, you know, this button does that when you've already figured it out, but it's like, whatever. It's much more preferable to playing a tutorial. And you can peek up over stuff different ways too, which is also nice. And of course, you know, you can change angles, and sometimes you will have to change angles. Whoa! And like I said about dying instantly, you have stuff like that. I didn't check my area, and this guy probably shot me at like point blank in the head. So, yeah. The one of the annoying things though is the checkpoints are terrible. Yeah, you can also just completely ignore and leave enemies there. You don't have to engage them, which is also a nice thing. So like those two guys I killed earlier, I can just completely ignore them. It's really to your preference. It doesn't give you a better score or, you know, less of a score to deal with them. So engaging them or not engaging them is actually a decision you have to decide. One of the things I don't like is you can't really rappel up there. 'Cause I would love to be able to get on top of that building and then not, you know, deal with people. Now, this game also does a good job of the enemies don't always just know instantly where you're at. Most of the time. Sometimes it fails on that aspect, but, you know, this game cannot be absolutely 100% perfect, and that's fine. Now, I think the problem with this game is they didn't actually show, like, you know, the real gameplay of this. They just showed, like, the title and everything at E3, you know, like how they always do. Oh, fuck. It was hard to see there. Nice. Fuck's sakes, where is he? And one of the things you can do is you can see the bullets, because they're blazing hot, to figure out where you're getting sniped from. Making crap like this possible. Which, also a nice touch in the future. Now, all of these things are nice. Where this game fails is in level design. Okay. This level, not so bad. It's actually quite, you know, fairly decent in how it's designed. The Calypso Casino, you get segments where it's like, there's a lot of cover, but none of it's like actually usable. Like it's just completely fucking useless, and it's like, what is the point of this cover? There's a couple moments like this where you're at a rail yard, and it seems like there's a lot of cover and everything, but then the enemies are positioned in a poor spot, or, you know, the cover doesn't actually work like it should, or You know, the AI will just barely shoot like the teeniest, tiniest part of your foot, or you know, you have enemies that shouldn't know where you're at, but they do know where you're at. Not always the case.